Hello, everybody. It's me, Dot. I am here to record the video of shame because this episode, unfortunately, has been lost to the internet. I blame this entirely on myself. I got really busy and it just slipped my mind, and Twitch only gives us 2 weeks. So I am here, not Tracy, to record a recap for you for episode 40 of Shadows of Sybil. So I have notes provided by both Maggie and Tracy. I have my brain notes, and who knows, maybe I'll even put in Dakota's opinion since Ava is not here to give us her Ava recap. So again, we greatly apologize. This doesn't usually happen, but things have been a little interesting recently for the cast in terms of how busy we are and everything that's going on. So we appreciate the patience, and we are getting caught up by recording this for all of you. So what does Mathis say? Let's dive right in. Episode 40. So we started off with a big conversation amongst the coterie as to what is next. Most importantly, because we had a meeting with Kevin Jackson planned. There was a lot that we needed to disseminate out. Most importantly, that we had acquired, well, I should say Ava acquired the means to do a ritual, a very specific and special ritual. This ritual would allow the coterie to produce a flame, in essence, that is not really fire. Instead, it keeps the shadow at bay. And this seemed like a really great opportunity, considering the fact that the group is in quite a predicament as we draw closer to the end of Sybil's grand plan. So we decided that maybe it was time to talk to Jackson about it. When we got there to his usual well-lit bunker room that has no shadows, not even in the corner, he was, of course, there with his bestie, Alan Sovereign. And he made us tell everything that we needed to say in front of Alan Sovereign. So we filled him in, asked for some Ventrue aid, potentially when the events go down at Elysium, to make sure he was kind of on board. We also revealed that we had seen something that he needed to know about. We kind of knew Jackson was in on some Anarch stuff, and he might be leveraging the Anarchs for his own gains. Surprise, surprise. But we saw Portia, the Toreador who trollops about, we'll say, with Brett. Actually, that's a judgment on her. I shouldn't say she trollops. Maybe she doesn't trollop. I should not judge our Toreador friends. Portia, who hangs out with Brett, was seen crawling out a window, in fact, in the Anarch territory for one of our contacts, which will be important. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. And we brought that up to Jackson. He kind of was like, I don't care. We made Ava step up and talk about the flame and the ritual. But the thing that really turned Jackson off to the whole thing was, of course, that the ritual requires a kindred to drink Fey blood. Jackson immediately, in his usual anti-superstitious, weird magic stuff, was like, nope, I don't want anything to do with it. It's not happening. Don't tell me about it. What y'all do is what y'all do. So basically, Jackson didn't want in on the protective flame, and we took that as a sign to go forth and flourish on our own, but do not bring Jackson into the middle of it, which is what the group needed to hear for us to be able to move forward. But Dakota had a little extra business to bring up to Jackson. So after the rest of the coterie left, she braved up and she did something she's never done. And she actually asked Jackson for something instead of him asking her for something. And he reminded Dakota he reminded the whole coterie that even though we may have a plan, we can't stop getting the dagger. We still have to acquire that dagger. And Dakota kind of made her point that she's always worked really hard and asked for a piece of property, not for her, but to give to Ollie, the comic book store that she wants to purchase. And Jackson immediately put Alan Sovereign on it, to Dakota's surprise, and said nothing more. So I don't know, Dakota got grown up and had a little business conversation. She asked for money from somebody else, which is very difficult for her. When all was said and done, the code wrote back and said, okay, well, if Jackson doesn't want to be involved, where are we going to put this flame, this protective anti-shadow area? because depending on how big it was, where we put it, what we wanted to put it on, a variety of things, it becomes more difficult. And so a very large conversation amongst the coterie was had with a lot of ideas of, can we actually pin it to an object? What if we did the ritual on ourselves and made a person? Do we wait? Do we try to place it like a trigger weapon inside of the cabin for Vitel? But unfortunately, none of these really work because it takes 12 hours to do the ritual. We didn't want to cue Vitel in. There was a lot of planning, plotting, questioning, pros and cons conversation. And in the end, it was Ollie who came up with the brilliant idea that there is actually a hospital, one that we've not touched or really gone to in quite a while. This is the same hospital where he killed Rowan, and the one in which Saito was kind of, we knew, working out of. And Ollie made the idea that what if we put it in that hospital and acquire that hospital as a new piece of property for us, which in the end turns out to be really, really great and really, really smart, because the map over in Roll20 shows that the piece of territory that we're giving the Anarchs in lieu of their fake coup, an attack of the Elysium, sits inside of Camarilla grounds. But the hospital we want sits inside of Anarch grounds. And it kind of turns out to maybe be an even fair trade to balance the territory scales. So off we set to do this ritual. Dakota is not completely convinced. I don't think Ollie is either, but we're not going to leave the rest of the coterie. So off we go. And the decision is made that actually Emmy is going to do this ritual because Emmy is older and stronger. And we as a coterie weren't really sure what the outcome of drinking Fey blood was, as we had only seen it one time and that person completely lost their minds. So we needed to have somebody that was strong enough, and old grandma, 8-year-old grandma was the one who wanted to do it. And part of that was Emmy's choice. Emmy really seemed far too interested, we'll say, in consuming Fey blood. So off we go. We get to the hospital. We check it out. It seems mostly safe. There's nothing there that we know of. And of course, Mathis goes into this incredible description about the ritual. I will not do it the same justice that he does, but I would do my absolute best. The ritual required quite a bit of work on Ava and Emmy's part. Most importantly, Ava holds the actual ritual in her head. And so Ava began setting out the runes, drawing out the runes. We needed the blood of a human, we needed the blood of a kindred, and when it was time, she would be given the Fey blood. And they go through this process. They set up the ritualistic circle. We decided on the area that we wanted it kind of focused and centralized on in the hospital. And lo and behold, when time was ready, that Moth metaphor or literal interaction returns, as the moth that crawled down Ava's throat episodes ago instead comes out of Ava's throat, regurgitating forward, and then crawls its way into Emmy's mouth. Emmy drinks the Fey blood, and part of this ritual required Emmy to give up something very personal, and it had to be something of great value. And in this case, Emmy offered up lamb chop. Mathis goes on to kind of describe the taste of the Fey blood being rather indescribable. It was kind of sweet and delectable, and it played on a memory of Emmy's, one of fresh homemade banana bread made by her mother. She saw the world bright and colorful, new. Mathis even described consuming the blood as kind of the closest that you'll ever get to being alive again, that true feeling of life. So Emmy kind of involves herself in this great personal experience during this ritual over many, many hours of hearing the crickets and the creek nearby the hospital, feeling these things she's not felt since she's been turned. And since she's 200 years old, this kind of broke Emmy in a way. Emmy didn't lose her mind, but instead was reminded of something that she has long forgotten, and in doing so, it kind of corrupted Emmy's wants, desires, needs, and has put Emmy in a state of a Fey blood addiction. Currently, at the moment, because of that, Emmy has lost access to their discipline powers, though it will not be permanent. And she can hear these strange whispers as well. She also got a boost in some stuff, as you can imagine, including to awareness, occult, and intelligence. And right now, Emmy can kind of see the aura or the essence of beings and creatures more vividly and more brightly. We actually ended in the middle of that ritual, which takes us into the next episode where we find out what Ollie and Dakota are doing while Emmy and Ava are deep in this extremely weird ritual. Yeah, so I don't want to jump ahead because I know what happens, but that is kind of, I guess, the really big long and short of it. So in total, we visited Jackson, filled him in. He said he didn't want to know about it. Dakota got the comic book shop for Ollie. We decided that the hospital was the best place to host this specific ritual. And that Emmy would be the person to, or the kindred to do it, since Emmy was stronger than the rest of us. In performing this ritual and in doing it, Emmy did imbibe Fey blood, and in doing so has a Fey blood addiction at the moment, and was experienced something so vivid, so visceral, so truly alive that it may have broke Emmy a little bit. And to put the cherry on this very sad ice cream, to top it all off, she also lost Lamb Chop. There you have it, everybody. A couple 10-minute recap. I think I covered like the really key majority of it all. And hopefully it sets you up for a little bit more success as you jump into episode 41 and 42. So thank you again for your patience. I greatly apologize. Like I said, here I am doing the video shame stream because it was totally my fault, and I botched that one up. To make up for my little mistake, I thought we'd do something extra special for this episode, and instead of keeping the after show behind the scenes for Patreon supporters, we are going to add it to the end of this video. So stick around. Even though we don't have the actual stream for you, we sure have the excitement and the chatter right after the stream to give you kind of the full gamut. It's a nice juicy one, so here it is for all of you, a little gift from us to say we are so very sorry. So thank you for tuning in, thank you for watching live, thank you for being here on YouTube, and we will see you all next time on Shadows of Sybil.
Welcome to the after show for episode 40, a short but sweet, impactful one. Yeah, I'll hand it off to you. I mean, it was pretty much one big event. You got to see Jackson. You passed along some useful info.
No.
But really,
Jackson did not want anything to do with the ritual.
No,
I knew it.
no.
Yeah,
I was
Better
like,
to ask than to assume.
No, also true. But yeah, he has no interest.
I would have preferred to have not, because he always is like judgy about it too. So that's why it's like, I didn't even want his judgment.
See, here's the thing. Dakota consistently appreciates Jackson's perspective because she is in the Jackson boat of like,
That's
I
valid.
don't really want anything to do with this weird, like,
Yeah.
which honestly,
Oh, that's true. You don't like witchy stuff either.
Dakota does not do superstitious weird stuff, and the only reason she's ever done it is for the benefit of Ava and trying to be there for Ava.
What's
Like-
Dakota's occult though?
Zero.
Oh, okay.
Zero. She has
That makes sense,
no
then.
interest in any of that
Yeah.
nonsense whatsoever. And so when Jackson's like, yeah, no, hard pass, she's like, man, can I come hop on your train? I want to be on your train. But it's also
Yeah.
the reason why I think Dakota ended up being like, yeah, no, you know what? Y'all are right about the hospital. Because if we put this in our territory proper, it literally puts it in our backyard. And Dakota's of the same mindset as Jackson. That's like, yeah, you know what? Maybe let's just put it in this really separate, totally secure location that's not in our regular day-to-day business. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
I liked the hospital idea after that was
It worked out
That's a
well.
good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it could have went way worse. It could have went way worse. He rolled
Yeah.
7 successes, which is
That was
really
was
good. To avoid
good.
any,
That's good.
any bad turnouts, I was looking for a total of 10 successes for like avoiding any and all bad
Oh,
things. But if you rolled below a 5, you would have been looking at problems. If you rolled below a 3, you would have been basically unplayable.
a potato.
Wow.
So you kind of had like the better side of the like dirty success-ish. There's some other benefits you get. Your aura, by the way, is going to be very radiant. If anybody does like aspects to see your aura, they're going to see like
Oh,
colors,
wow.
vibrant colors emanating off of it.
Cool.
That
That's
kind of stuff.
yeah. Oh my gosh. That whole scene of you like enjoying some like those like pleasures of your old life. Like that was that was good.
I couldn't think of anything better that like a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old or whatever would like think of like tasting
Yeah,
again. Like
your favorite food.
crave
Yeah.
to taste again.
And especially because like she was turned so young. It's like
Exactly.
that's why I was like, what would be her favorite thing to eat? Also, what back then was like,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the chat's like bread and water. I was like, that's what I was down the line too. I was thinking
yeah.
like, what kind of bread thing would be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now,
Yeah.
and now you know why you had a moth be swallowed, because that was the plot.
The
I
fable.
was just waiting for, you know. for
I
you to
was
do it.
wondering if the moth was about the premonition thing, but
No, the moth,
now it makes
it
sense.
was like
It's the
mixed,
Fey blood.
obviously, but the one, it was the Fey blood for the ritual that was going to be imbibed at the time.
So Mathis, this XP, these 2 XP are the only XP we've received this season.
Well, no, because you remember I've said every other episode you should be taking 1.
Okay, so this was episode 40.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time we talked about experience and gave experience was. I feel like we did this last time and you all had the same response. It was like,
Well, that's
oh,
why I
so
was
much
trying.
experience.
More
And I'm like,
powerful.
I'm gonna sort this out right
yeah,
now.
we'll have to
because
figure it out.
This basically means if we had 40 episodes, roughly there's 20. I think if we just say 20 experience, because some people have missed some
Total
people,
for,
right?
yeah.
So if we just call it a flat 20 experience, even with the 2 we received today, that should probably cover for everybody.
Sure, that's fine with me.
Yeah,
and
I
we
have
can
40
move
that I
forward.
haven't spent yet now
Oh,
with the
crazy.
extra 2.
I already know what I'm going to pick up. Actually, there's a presence discipline in the book. There's like the sirens one where I can use my abilities without having to make eye contact or something. I think I'm going to pick that
Ooh.
up. Yeah. So yeah,
I can't
but-
use my disciplines anymore. So
I
I'm
know.
like, what do
Oh
I
my
do?
God, Emmy, you're so much for terminal decree. We couldn't even get to see that used.
Oh yeah.
We don't get
Shit.
no
No.
dominate 5.
No, if you rolled really low, it would have been permanent, but you also would have become
Yeah,
unplayable.
you
So,
did
but
say
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
not permanent.
it's a
so-
temporary sever from your disciplines.
Yeah.
As
I
you
wanna-
have to re-grapple with your situation of your living and undeath life kind of clashing. Because it's all for Faye, it's all about existence and experience and emotions and life, and also horrible things that they do, and to enjoy that shit.
Yeah.
But that scene
But
isn't over yet.
it's
There's still
kind of fitting for
there's
Emmy.
a back half of that scene that's still coming that we'll be picking up with at the beginning of next week. So
Oh, okay.
more coming.
I
yeah.
think I ended up using half of my XP from this season, along with what I had left over from last season, to get my shapeshift this season. So I think I'm only at 10 if my math is right. So I'm sitting on about 10 XP.
Okay.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. Well, there you go. Short after show, but it was a short show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Ooh.
I'm glad you got your.
I'm glad
Impactful.
Emmy.
I was like, I might not be back again.
yeah. Now we have our
But in
I
the
might be
return
a
of
potato.
DOS.
yeah.
little spot, and
Yeah.
we'll see how that protects us down
I'm
the line.
excited.
So
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what we actually end up doing with this hospital.
Yeah, I'm excited to
Yeah.
What
describe.
happened? Oh yeah,
we'll
because
go
I was
through the
like, what happens
mechanics
to
of, like,
Lamb
what
Chop
it is.
too?
Oh no, that's going to be happening next. That's the back
Okay.
half. There's like more I want to do with that scene, but I don't want to
There's
like
something
rush
inside
it.
of Lamb Chop, by the way,
Okay, cool.
Mathis.
All right,
Ooh.
well, we'll talk about that next week then. But yeah, that's stuff I didn't want to rush through, so we'll pick up with that next week. All right, well, thank you guys so much for your support here.
Yeah.
We'll be back with another after show and a full episode next week. We love you. We appreciate you.
Bye,
Bye.
friends.
goodbye.
Bye.